Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Safe Room. You know what it is. It's the president, Sean Williams. We're back with another episode. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you. I was going to get some big guests. I was going to get some huge guests to come on the podcast. And today I have a very special guest on the podcast with me today. She is a young and inspiring R&B artist. She's making big things, man. She's making moves. Listen, if you don't know that track, all that's all I have to say. That alone. Today we have Kibra. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
So I'm feeling mad gas right now. Appreciate it. I'm so happy that I get to do this interview with you. I'm excited to jump right into the interview if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready too. First things first. I do need to like really sit down and appreciate you being on the podcast, guys. If you don't know about Kibra, like what are you doing? Like, are you sleeping? You must be asleep. You guys need to wake up. Listen, guys, like she is an amazing upcoming artist. She has a great style, a great blend of like smooth and jazzy music. And like, she has a lot of influence, especially to like 90s and like 2000s R&B, which is like that's my type of R&B. I know everyone's be saying like, "Oh, R&B today is so diverse and everything," but like listen, 90s and thousands can't touch it. I'm sorry. Like don't debate with me, but she has done so much in such a small amount of time. And again, like she's a community advocate as well. Like, it's more than just the music. Like it has a message to it. And I know you're working hard in the community as well. I know you're doing so many things and like we'll get to like all the accomplishments, all the different stuff that you've been doing recently. But I just had to like get that off my chest because wow, just excellence, just absolute excellence.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I would love to get into the interview. So first thing I want to start with is just your music. Again, like it just has such a soulful purpose. Like I feel every time I've listened to like your music and I've recently been listening to your music, it's just like it feels different to like, maybe your mainstream track that you would hear like on the Billboard charts or hear like, on the radio or anything or Spotify, Apple Music. Like this one, like your music specifically, it really has like, oh wow, it's like connection, like vibes to it. Like it really brings to like, the soul in a way. So like I just want to know, like, because your music has such, an impact, how does that really make you feel? Like not just like for people to hear your music and really connect to what you're saying, but even to yourself. Like how do you feel in a sense like, what, I'm able to kind of produce this music out and people are able to like connect through the messages and the stories I'm sharing? Like that's something that really like is like a huge accomplishment to yourself. So like, well, how would you feel about that?
Well, firstly, I just want to thank you for saying these things. I mean, I think many artists can relate in that um, just hearing the ways in which their art is appreciated, but whether it's by one person or whether it's by several, like every single comment like this really matters and just really validates my experience as an artist and validates why I do this. Um, but in regards to your question, like I think the first person my music impacts is myself, right? Like um I started writing music and just writing in general from a very young age, like as early as like elementary school. And so it was never something that I was able to share. It was always like locked up in a diary sort of thing. And I was really fearful of like the sense of vulnerability of actually sharing, right? So
Mm,
before it was any of that, it was really just for me. Like it was literally an outlet. Um, and so once I started realizing that I wanted to do music and that my purpose, um, like music is like a vessel for like my purpose in this world. I I found, although it was hard to be this vulnerable and like express my like most inner deepest thoughts, I found that it was an incredible release. It was like it felt amazing to be able to be that vulnerable, and it felt even more amazing when people were connecting with the music and connecting with my messaging, and so it was definitely encouraging to just keep going, like even when things get really hard, like I kind of just get realigned with what my purpose is, and like um the obstacles, as like crazy as some of them may be, do not seem as large, just because I'm like so driven and like so purposeful with everything that I do.
Wow. Yeah, that's very beautiful. And again, I love how you kind of start off saying that, the music really impacts yourself. Because like you have to believe in yourself. I feel like a lot of people these days, they have a drive to do something, but sometimes that drive may not be as like they may not realize it at first because they don't take the time to appreciate that I want to do this and I have to impact like myself. Yes, I want to impact others, but it really starts at home with yourself and how confident you feel. So it's really great to hear that you find that sense of like confidence in yourself to produce this type of music that you do, because again, like I said, it speaks volumes. It's not like typical R&B music that you hear today. Yeah, sure, R&B has like been so like diversified in so many ways. It's like so many different varieties. But like, I feel especially with R&B, especially within the community, it's something that where you hear more of the narrative perspective, you hear a lot of the different stories that aren't really heard on like mainstream tracks. Because again, when it comes to like the music industry, it's like, oh, if people like this one side of you, you should kind of like stick to that because like that's what sells like the record, that's what gets the money and everything. So
Yeah.
it comes to the point where like that's how much of your music is like produced. It's like, oh, we're known to listen to this person because of their sound and this and that, but we totally forget like, hey, there's probably stories and narratives that they don't even get to share because again, the music industry in a sense is kind of like we want you to sound a certain way. But I think what I love about music within the community here, especially for Jane-Finch, is that you get to hear those stories, you get to hear those different experiences, and like it really just it brings something different to like everyone where it's like, wow, it's like I never knew like this was happening to this person, or like, oh, I can relate to that. So like again, I feel like and for you even too, it's not to say that you can't make a sound that's like, oh, I can make a sound that's like it's for everyone, but I feel like you fit like all the criteria and all the different like checkpoints. Like that's what your music really speaks, especially for me specifically.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be like very modest, very like, oh my god, this is amazing, this and that. You so I just want to know, like, when starting, like, your music career, like, what did you really envision, like, in the first couple of months? Like, did you ideally thought, hey, you know what? This is something I'm passionate about. And I want to like start it off like really strong, and maybe it'll take my way through. Or did you felt like, I want to like just take it slow? So I want to ask you, like, how did you envision it, and how do you compare it to what actually played out in real time?
When I first started like taking music professionally, I was working with someone and who was like just kind of helping me and like showing me the ropes and stuff. And I don't know. I think at first I expected things to move a lot faster, but once I stopped working with that person and was just on my own, I was kind of like hit with reality in a very short amount of time. So I really was just kind of like, you know what? Like I just want to create music just to create music. Like that was literally it. I knew, of course, we all have dreams of winning a Grammy and meeting Beyonce, and you know what I mean? Of course, we all have those
Facts.
dreams, right? But I think like during the time that I was working on my first EP, I was really just like, you know what? Like I just want to, like my whole life kind of always led back to music. Everything I did always, there was always music incorporated. I was always singing somewhere to people, to whoever, to myself. So
Yeah.
I just kind of was like, you know what? I feel like God is really directing me down this path. And so it would be naive for me not to kind of go down it. And I was in school and stuff at
Mm,
the time as well. But I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try. And so I did. And I partnered with Zonel, who was the executive producer of my first EP. And yeah, we just kind of found each other and we kept working, and then came my first EP, and I had a way better reaction or response to it than I thought. Like, I don't know, I was so what's the word? I definitely like downplayed how much of a reach I could garner with my first EP, just again because I wasn't really expecting anything. It was kind of like I just wasn't expecting much, if that makes sense.
mhm.
So yeah, like it a lot of people resonated with the song. I did a ton of community shows, and it really, really, really put me on the map. Um it just really put me on the map, I
It
would
did a
say.
lot.
Yeah, like more so than I thought. I had like a release party for that EP, and like the place was so packed. I got like a small venue thinking not many people would show up, but I think like double the amount of people I thought that would come ended up coming, and it was a sold out show, and it was just incredible. So yeah, like it was very encouraging. So as much as I think at this point in my career, um I'm realistic, and I think like after I don't want to say like I can kind of expect certain responses, but there's kind of like an algorithm to this music industry, right? And so
Mm,
of course certain things happen where like, oh, like a single that you didn't really push ends up getting a lot of love, like that has happened. Or you know what I mean? There are some like unexpected moments, but more so
right.
like if you're really in tune with your market and with your audience, and with your analytics, you can kind of like understand where things are, or where things are going, and you
Yeah, the
can more
different
or less.
dynamics and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I had like absolutely no idea what I was doing when I released my first EP. Like absolutely no idea.
Like how many people are
Like,
gonna listen to it? Like, yo, is it gonna go to this person? Gonna go to that person? Like, I don't know where it's gonna be distributed.
you know what I mean? Like I actually had no idea. I did like no PR. Like it was just it was just, yeah, like it was just, so yeah, I have more of an idea. I still have so much to learn. So much to learn, but I'm grateful that I've been able to like learn some lessons as I've been going since then.
Well, that's great to hear. And like again, like you mentioned PR. Like, listen, in this time of age, like it's not even just music. Just overall, if you're trying to like build your platform, like you're gonna have to be one of those people where like you're just spamming and it's just like I don't try to be like that annoying person, but it's like I
Yeah.
have to because like the algorithm, like at one point it may take my post or it's just not gonna show, it's gonna go somewhere else. So it's like if I don't say anything that's just like if I don't promote my music, if I don't promote this, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not gonna have an impact. And I know you mentioned like about like your executive producer and like I just want to go off topic a bit because I feel like it would be a crime if I don't go off topic. I feel like I do that all the time on the podcast. But how is the process just like being in the studio, just like being there in the environment, recording, what is recording and producing, just the vibe of overall. Like, how does it feel? Is it just different? Do you felt like the first time was just like, wow, like I feel like
I
I get
had no
jitters.
idea what I was doing the first time because I've always been like a performance singer. I knew my way around the mic on stage, but the mic in the recording booth is a completely different ball game. Like completely different sport. Like so it took me some time to really just kind of like understand how to like situate my voice in a recording studio versus stage or performance. And yeah, like I mean, everything was like a learning curve, and it was I honestly enjoyed the process. Yeah, it wasn't like all the way smooth. There's certain things that I'm a lot more efficient with now than I was before.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great to hear that you're growing and you're definitely, showing that you're like trying to learn different stuff as well. Because like a lot of people feel like, oh, a couple years in and like I know everything. It's like, no, like it's just the beginning. Like there's so many different like avenues you haven't really passed through. So it's great to hear that you recognize how much like, your worth is like important to yourself and to others, but also like, hey, like I'm still trying to like grow from these like different experiences. So that's great to hear. So I know we talked about your first EP a bit and like it's kind of transition and tread down this road to like now and like your smash hit, all that, which may I say on repeat on my playlist, beautiful track. And like you were part of the first up pre-show as well. I wish I could have went, but I guess this pandemic has other other excuses and classes. So thanks, York. Thank you for that. But
Yeah. Well, it was a great experience for sure. Sorry, what was your question?
I mean, yeah. So like I just want to ask, like, how does like every opportunity that you receive, like, really show that the work you've done has like been so significant? Like every time you've had a performance or you've done like a show or like anything, how does it like every time you're finally done, you're off the stage or whatever, you tell yourself, wow, it's like I feel like I'm doing something right. I'm definitely making an impact in some way. How do you like really evaluate yourself in terms of like every time going on stage or every time doing a show, basically?
Um, this is an interesting question. I mean, I don't think it like regardless of how big or how small the show is, like I always make sure to give it my all. I'll never um like I care about the people listening to me too much to not do that, whether there's 10 people in the room or 10,000. I would love I would always appreciate that from artists. And so it would be kind of contradictory for me not to do the same. But like, a lot of the times I have some of my loved ones with me at shows, and like they always do such an incredible job at hyping me up and making
Like, let's
making
go, let's go.
yeah, and like even something that I found at least specific for the show that you brought up for TIFF was that it was um my first drive-in concert that I performed at.
Mm,
And I was just thinking about how I could engage folks. And so I kind of integrated it in my performance to like ask people to like flash their lights and beep their cars. And so it was crazy because I could see and hear cars from like what looked like blocks away, which if
wow.
just a person was standing there, I couldn't hear them scream. You know what I mean? So it's just so interesting. Like I was really nervous to sing at this sort of audience because I really like being interactive and kind of like looking at people's eyes and talking to them and shouting them out in the crowd. It's like, someone's giving me mad energy. I like, bringing
Hmm.
some attention to them and thanking them. So I was a little bit nervous about how to do it, but like people were still very receptive and very warm and engaged. So that definitely, let me know that I was doing a good job.
I could only imagine like a drive-in. It's just like the amount of pressure. Like I know, like listen, me like I wouldn't say I'm a performer, but I do like to, be very active when I'm on stage. Like I'm a drama dude. Like back in like high school, I always used to do like drama plays and stuff. But a drive-in, like how did you even like? evaluate something like that. You just go on stage and it's like, well, if they give a reaction, you're doing good. If not, then you can't really tell. Like, is it bad? It's like, are you just kind of enjoying it still? It's so hard to differentiate between like something like that compared to like, oh, there's just normal people in the crowd and everything. I have to ask, like, has there been like a time where like you had one performance where you looked at the crowd and were just like, wait a minute, there's too much people. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, has there ever been like a moment where you were shocked and were just like, wow, like there's a lot of people, like a lot of pressure.
Um, Not really, because usually when you're on stage and if it's dark and the lights are just on you, you can't really see the crowd.
That is true. That is so true.
So yeah, like yeah, no, I've never really felt like that.
Well, damn. Well, that's good to hear too. I mean, you want to have like that confidence when you
I've
go on stage.
I think like I've felt even more nervous with like smaller crowds because I'm like, I can see
Mm.
every single one of your faces. And yeah, I know you can see me because I'm right here, right? Like y'all could touch me if you wanted to, you know what I mean? So like I just feel like it's so much more like real and intimate. And so um I really do my best to set the vibe right off the bat just so that I can like make it comfortable for all of us, like for the audience and for me. And so um yeah, people listening to music are usually great, as long as you're giving them something worthy of listening to, so I've never really had like too tough performances or like audiences that were tough, too tough to handle for me.
That's a great mentality. Like I'm actually the same. Like a big crowd. I don't know. Like like a great public speaker. You put me in a room full of 100 people, I'll be fine. You put me in front of like the homies, the friends, and they tell me like to do something. Hey, like spit something. I'm like, nope, you're not getting nothing from me because I know you're the type of person that if I mess up, you will roast me saying, "Oh my God, you're trash, you're buns and everything." Uh yeah. So kind of moving on to my next question. So with your experience and everything, and like this again, like I feel like this question's such a mouthful. I'm realizing I can't believe I wrote this down, but I do want to ask, like, you've had the chance to, do stuff for yourself, but I'm assuming you've also had the chance to work with a lot of musicians yourself. And really my question is like, has there been a time where like you've been in the role as like, like the vet, where like you've been given advice and you're trying to like encourage those young upcoming artists to like, hey, like, listen, I stepped into this, I followed my path for music, and I believe you guys can do it too. Have you played the veteran role, or is it even the sense of like you're still learning? You have mentioned it before, that you're still learning, but has there been moments where you felt like you've had to been like, the one that's giving advice to others, the one that's kind of like teaching the way to those who are probably just coming into music and into their own craft?
Yeah, so I love speaking with like youth and like children. I'm literally like the auntie with all the kids, like talking to them, telling them to stay in school, like so that's definitely some like a role that, with like my the little experience that I've had, I've been able to like um gain some wisdoms and knowledge that I've been able to share with my peers, um with youth, and really anyone who asks me. I have like an open door policy in my DMs. I have artists that message me all the time, like asking me for help or like advice and stuff, which I'm always open to giving, and I make sure that I'm available to give them like the best of what I know.
Yes.
um yeah, like I've been in mentorship positions. I've taught in schools. And yeah, so I've definitely been like in the position to teach, but I've also learned from so many um great people as well. So I really think like it's not even about positioning me in like a higher position over anyone, but it's like a cycle where like I would not be here if it wasn't for something that I got. So why would I not also give and just have it be a cycle rather than like a pyramid? You know what I mean?
Mm, that's strong. That's strong. I'm gonna have to like put that down as like a quote. Yeah, no, like that's great. No, it honestly sounds like you done everything, which is like fantastic, and definitely mentorship. Like that is such a crucial thing, especially like within the community. One thing that I hold deep to my heart is that there has to be awareness, but you also want to have like action as well. Like awareness is important, but also you want to like try to apply that as well into like real life situations. So I'm glad that you're definitely the person that's like I'm still learning, but you're very active in terms of like I want that younger generation to rise up and be like the new like leaders in their craft and their platform. So that is great to hear. I definitely have to ask. All that. So you just recently dropped that single and like it's been going crazy. Like I kid you not, like I follow you on Instagram. Every time I see people posting it, saying like, "Oh my god, it's a smash hit." Um how did that song come to be? I mean, I just would love to know because it really is a beautiful track.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But the I wrote the song while I was actually in Toronto and like I was trying to I was on my way. I went to Ghana for the second time and I have an incredible production team out there, Trinity and Joe B. Um and so I presented the song to them and the three of us kind of just came up with a new, sorry, I'm like getting a bunch of texts, but the three of us um, came up with the instrumental, slowly but surely. And the song came together and I re-recorded it. And it was just like, you know, the vibes in Ghana are unmatched. So I was really able to like elevate the song from what it was like I didn't think it could get any better, but it just really did. Like you have like a different sense of like inspiration when you're there. And I don't want to like glamorize it or anything, but it's just, you're in a hot country, you're away from home, palm trees everywhere, coconut water every day. Like, how could you not be
Bruh.
inspired? Black people doing just everywhere you go, there's black people. Like, it's a great place to be. So, um, yeah, like I just kind of felt like it added to like the flavor of the song, and I shot the video out there with my incredible video production team, Afroceniac, and it starred Major Skyscraper, who was the love interest in the video. And it was beautiful. I think that was probably my favorite location for a music video since like ever. Like it was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It was just incredible. And we had a drone to like capture it and stuff. So if you're listening, check it out. It's a side of Africa that I think everyone needs to see.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah.
Well, that's great to hear. Listen, I would trade going to anywhere but Canada at this point. Toronto. Like it's freezing. Oh my god. I think I heard tonight it's supposed to be like under 10 degrees. Like I'm not here for it. Not at all. But I have to ask because I feel like there has been times, especially like for musicians, and they can probably speak on it, where like you have the supporters and everything, and then you have like the critics. Those are like, oh, it's side, or like I don't know why people are getting so like hyped about this and everything. Like, what do you really like do when like you hear all these people like who probably critique you.
I mean, I don't know. People don't really say that to me to my face. I don't think I'm at the level where people are like out here trying to tear me down. Like in general, like the circles that I'm in, at least to my face, are very supportive and very encouraging. I've had a few trolls though, I'm not gonna lie. There was this one that commented on my YouTube video saying that it was trash, and like everyone kind of sent it to me, and so I went to go check out their profile, and it's just like a Toronto man talking about some conspiracy theories and then would like throw in a 1-2 rap in the middle. Like I was just like, you know what, like I really can't take this to heart, you
Can't
know.
bother with them.
Yeah, so yeah, no, I've always had thick skin, so I don't think I think if those kind of critiques do come, not to say that no one has ever critiqued me, but no one has ever critiqued me in like a hating way. Like I always like prior to putting out music, I send my music to a bunch of people to like ask for opinions. Like even for my birthday, I had a listening party, and um as much as it was like the music that I released was like honestly even more well received than I imagined. They did offer insights and like positive feedback that I could take and like make my music even better than what it is. So it's not to say that I never get critique, but never like not people hating or anything. And if they do, like I don't even notice it. Like energy is too high for that. Like
Mm, yeah, I definitely get it. And like I love how you like mentioned the distinction between like, critiques and everything. There's gonna be those trolls like, oh my gosh, it's trash, or the beat sucks, oh the lyrics are just there's gonna be those people, but there's also gonna be those individuals who like just give you insight and advice, just like, hey, it was cool. Like maybe you could like try doing this like next time. And like those are the type of people you want in your life because it's not to say that critique is a bad thing, but you don't want that type of negative energy that's being placed on you where like people are trying to bring you down, but more like their words are trying to uplift you and encourage you to strive for your goals. Like that's the type of people you want to surround yourself with, basically.
mhm.
I know I have to like get in this top because I mean, since we're talking about music, I mean, let's talk about music just overall around the world. Like, what have you been listening to recently? Like, what's your top tracks? Like, what are you really focusing on right now? Like, what albums are just hitting for you?
Oh, okay. Nail just dropped an album and it's so good. I feel like this is like it was such a well done album. I feel like she has such a distinguished sound. Um, she is able to really like draw from her like cultural roots and infuse them into like this very unique sound, which I really appreciate. And her lyrics are very relatable. They're very, it's like she's speaking right at you because they're like so specific,
Mm,
which I really appreciate in songwriting. But yeah, all around, she's like the first person that came to my head was her. And he said that.
yeah. What's her name?
Nao, Nao.
Oh, okay, okay. I feel like I've heard that name somewhere.
From the
Like,
UK.
hey, if you're putting me on it, I'll definitely take a listen to it for sure. Like.
Please do, please do. She has a very strong body of work.
Yeah, for sure. Are you more of like a mainstream type listener, or are you trying to look for more of the music that's not being talked about, more of like the underground, or more of like the like local
I would
based
say a
music?
mixture of both. Um, I feel like uh not all like pop tracks are overrated. I think some of them are actually really good. Most of them are really good. And I'll listen to them, but I definitely have like a few artists that I'm waiting to even pop. 'Cause I love them so much. So yeah, like it's a mixture. It's a mixture of both.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same because like I won't lie, especially like this month specifically, all people could talk about was the Drake versus Kanye, which album was better, and it's just like why are we pitting two of like the biggest artists of our generation just against each other? Like if you like listen, if you like Certified Lover Boy, you like it. If you like Donda, you like it. Why are we now like trying to figure out oh which one had the higher streams, which one had the higher numbers, which one had the more bangers? It's like who cares?
Yeah, it's all a part of the business.
Oh my god, it gets so annoying. So yeah, it's great to hear that you have like a nice blend of everything. I would have to ask, like, is there any favorite albums you've had this year? Any favorite songs so far?
Oh, I hate this question because I hate anyone asking me what's my favorite anything because I'm a very undecisive
And
person.
this,
Like it's one of my toxic traits. And like when you ask me to pick like favorite music, favorite food, favorite this, favorite that, like I literally just blank. Like right now, I actually have no idea what music even is. So I'm not going to answer this because I know I'm going to listen to this podcast and be like, oh, no, I wish I said this. And no, I wish I said that.
it's like wait. Let me take it back. Let me take it back.
You know? So next question.
Listen, like, no, I totally get it. Like, I totally get it. Like, what's it? I tell people all the time, like, listen, if you ask me my favorite album, I'll be like, I can tell you like what my favorite like genres is, music at best, but like favorite album, like, cause like listen to me, I'm a very critical person when I listen to music. Like, I want the music I listen to have like meaning, but there's also times like I don't mind a track where like it just gets me turned up. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I
Yeah,
don't hate.
absolutely. There's appropriate times and places for different things, right? So it's like I can't say this is my favorite album of all time when I have many different times in my life. I do
Mm.
many different things and I enjoy many different things. So it's like my favorite album to like, I don't know, to cry to is going to be different than my favorite album to like be happy to. I don't know. No one album should just make you feel one emotion, but you get what I mean? Like there's just it's time and place. Like so yeah, it's very difficult for me to pick one or three
Absolutely.
or five or yeah.
Like, listen, everyone, like, I know, I feel like a lot of people, like, they bash me too, because, like, I've done episodes before on the podcast about music, and I remember I said something about how the DJ Khaled album that he dropped this year, like, it wasn't good. People were on my ass. They're like, well, what do you mean it wasn't good? Like, you didn't like all the tracks? And I'm like, guys, like, look, I wasn't even trying to take the album seriously. I was like, I wanted to like just be turned up, but like he couldn't even do that for me. It's just like again, like I feel everyone just has a certain like condition of like how they want to like listen to music. Like, see me, if I'm looking for anything that's like has meaning to it, I'm looking to like R&B and like conscious rap. If I'm looking for like something to turn up to, I'll probably listen to a couple of, like trap music and everything, but like I'm not heavy on that. And like I have so much other like genres. Like that's not even including like reggae, soca, gospel music as well. So it's like I have such a variety. It's like I'll listen to anything, but I won't listen to everything and like everything. Cause like again, I have like a certain preference. And that's not a bad thing. Cause like some people could say, like, oh, you're just limiting yourself to like, oh, you want to listen to a certain music. Well, yeah, but I mean, nothing else is catching my interest. So like, what's the difference? I mean,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you feel what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I'm curious. Like, do you have like any like next things, like any big announcements coming up? Is there anything that you're doing so far? Like, you're planning any big moves?
Yeah, so on November 5th, I'm releasing a new song. It's called Live Your Life.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I'm really excited that starting starting in November, I'll be a part of Manifesto's Discovery series. Um,
Okay. Wow. Okay. Round of applause.
I'm excited for that. They'll be spotlighting me for a month and we'll be doing some great things and wrap up the month with the video premiere event for Live Your Life. And so it's going to be a whole event. We're going to have a panel discussion with some big names in the city, and a full band performance, and then wrapping up with the premiere of the video. And this video was shot. This video was shot in a few neighboring cities in Toronto and Tobermory,
Oh wow.
and was funded by RBC Music. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm really excited to release this video, um, and hopefully it's something that you all enjoy. And I hope all of you can come out. The event's going to be pay what you can, so no one's excluded.
Yeah, for all the people listening, you heard that. Okay, so make sure you mark it down somewhere, your notes, your calendars. Like, don't forget it. Okay, so make sure you tune into everything that Kibra is doing. She's doing amazing stuff right now, and just all the best wishes and good luck to you just moving forward.
Thank you.
For sure, for sure. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Keeper, for being on the podcast. Like this was huge, and like I think you and I know how hard we've been like trying to like plan this out and everything, guys. Like, listen, she's so busy. I had to like get to her like probably like what 2 3 weeks advance.
Uh, yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy we were able to make it happen. This was a great interview.
Definitely, for sure, for sure. So where can they go check you out?
Yes, you could follow me on Instagram at Kibra Music, Kibra Music spelled normally. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Kibra as well. And stream my music on all streaming platforms. That's Spotify, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Tidal, all of those things. And it's just my name, Kibra. You can search up any one of my songs, or maybe my EP titled "And It Was Good," and you'll find a bunch of my more recent songs over there.
All right, cool. So thank you guys once again for listening to the Safe Room. Make sure you guys follow me at the Safe Room Podcast. Make sure you keep up to date of all the episodes I'm doing. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I know I did. Recording this, it was amazing to be here with Kibra. Again, thank you so much. This was fantastic.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and see you guys next time.